Just when we thought, after Kyrie's opt-in, that the biggest news that was going to come out of the offseason was Jalen Brunson going to the Knicks, we get this. I told you guys a few months ago we were going to have a crazy offseason. It's always the years where it looks like nothing's going to happen, where things go crazy. Kevin Durant has requested a trade. Obviously, everyone knows this is a big deal, but I don't think everyone is grasping just how insane this trade is going to be. This is not a situation like Anthony Davis was in when he had 1 year left on his deal, giving him leverage due to him committing to a contract extension. Kevin Durant is one of the best basketball players on the planet without a trade clause and without any leverage whatsoever, considering he has 4 more years left on his deal. This is gonna get crazy. The Clippers traded the Thunder, SGA, Danilo Gallinari, 5 first-round picks, and 2 pick swaps for Paul George. This is the kind of package where the conversation even begins with Kevin Durant. So let's get into some of the teams that have the best chance to trade for him. Now, somehow, some way, we already have Vegas odds for Kevin Durant's next destination. I'm going to be using PointsBet for today's video, but I need to make this very clear. The odds are changing quickly, but I still think we have a decent idea of where the odds makers are leaning. There appears to be 2 clear favorites, that being Kevin Durant's rumored preferred destinations, the Miami Heat and the Phoenix Suns. It's really not a shocker they're at the top of his list. Breaking news, the guy that joined the 73-9 Warriors wants to go to a #1 seed. Right now, Vegas has the Suns and Miami at basically even money. The Miami Heat are just behind the Suns at plus 125. Now, this is actually super surprising to me, and I wouldn't touch these odds with a 10-foot pole. Yes, Kevin Durant has them at the top of their list, but why in the world would the Nets care even the littlest bit where Kevin Durant wants to go? Again, he has no leverage, none at all. Durant's going to be traded to wherever the Nets can get the best return, and I struggle to see how either of these teams can have one of the best packages. Now, the Nets are in a unique position, as they have no interest in going into a rebuild. There is nothing to tank for. Practically every single one of their future firsts is going to the Houston Rockets, unprotected from the Harden trade. This Nets team is going to be trying to win games. The players they get back matter a lot, especially with Kevin Durant having 4 years left on his deal, making the first 4 years of draft selections that the team he goes to gives up practically second rounders. It's also unclear what's going to happen with Kyrie Irving, but it's looking like he's going to be heading out the door as well. They're going to be trying to put something competitive as soon as possible around Ben Simmons, so we need to remember that with some of these deals. Let's start with a favorite, the Phoenix Suns. I think they have a real shot at making a deal, but their odds are just way too high. It's clear what this deal would look like. It would involve Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, possibly Cameron Johnson, and all their selections. It's an okay package, but we need to remember that the Suns themselves have already questioned the value of Ayton on a max deal, so I don't think the Nets will be jumping up and down to pair him with Ben Simmons. We're already seeing some reports that a deal would have to start with Devin Booker, which doesn't seem like something the Suns would have a lot of interest in. Again, I can still see this happening, but them being this heavy of a favorite just doesn't feel right. The same thing applies to the Miami Heat. The biggest hurdle for them is Bam Adebayo. He would usually seem like a likely trade candidate in a deal like this, but he can't go to the Nets, well, at least without Brooklyn giving up Ben Simmons. They're both on designated rookie extensions, and per the rules, you can only have one of those on your roster. Why would the Nets go through all the effort to trade away Simmons just to get Bam when there's going to be a ton of crazy deals on the table? So if it's not Bam, then who? Obviously, it'd be centered around Tyler Hero, and while Tyler Hero is a great young player, he's still on a rookie deal. The Miami Heat need to match $44 million, meaning the Nets are probably getting some contracts they're not too excited about. So unless they're convinced that Tyler Hero is the next superstar of the league, I struggle to see this one going through. Well, at least I don't see them being this heavy of a favorite along with the Suns. Behind them is the Memphis Grizzlies, and this is where it starts to make a little bit more sense. With young guys like Jaren Jackson Jr., Zaire Williams, and Desmond Bane, they have solid options talent-wise. The contracts would be no problem, and they have all their draft picks as well as the Warriors next year. I see a better path for them than most of the teams that Vegas has as favorites. I expect them to get aggressive trying to form that Morant-Durant duo. I think it'd be pretty awesome to have that electric of a pairing on a franchise that's historically struggled to bring in that top-tier talent given the size of their market. And fourth right now is the Dallas Mavericks, a scenario that sounds incredible. 2 top 5 players on the same team, but what in the world do they have to offer? Yes, draft picks, but half the league is going after Kevin Durant, and they're all going to be offering every draft pick humanly possible. Jalen Brunson's going to the Knicks. They could match it and possibly trade him, but I'm not sure where his trade value is on that big of a deal. We need to remember the Nets need to get some players back here. I literally see no way the Mavericks can even come close to putting together an even okay package. Fifth is going to be the Chicago Bulls. They're at 7-1. Again, this one's tough, but I don't know how they're behind the Dallas Mavericks. LaVine is an unrestricted free agent. He can't be dealt in a sign and trade unless for some reason he wants to do that, which is not going to happen. Now, I still see an okay package here. Between DeMar with 2 years left and young guys like Kobe White and Patrick Williams, something could be put together here, but without their picks in 2023 and 2025, it's going to be hard to compete with some of the offers I think we should expect. A really interesting one to me is Portland at 10-1. With Jeremy Grant and Damian Lillard, this feels like the right opportunity for the Blazers to go all in before this Lillard era comes to an end. Plus, they actually have a pretty decent package they can put together. With the money of both Eric Bledsoe and Josh Hart, they can figure out the contracts, and when it comes down to assets, they've got them. Anthony Simons has shown the potential to be a star in this league, and he's going to carry a lot of value in a trade. They also just drafted the 7th overall pick in the draft, Shaedon Sharpe. I said it on draft night that Sharpe was the best option for the Blazers, given he was going to hold on to the most value post-selection, and I still think that's the case. They don't have their pick next year, but they have the rest. I would really watch out for them in this Durant situation. Then you've got Philly at 12-1. I don't see it. They're already sitting the Nets draft picks from the Ben Simmons trade. The deal would look something like Matisse, Maxey, Tobias, and the rest of the picks. I don't really think that's competitive unless the Nets think Maxey has all NBA potential. If that's the case, it's a different story, but I don't think that's the case. I think this Durant situation could be like the draft. The Nets are going to get all the picks from whoever they make this trade with. It's just going to come down to who can give them the best player in their eyes. For example, I don't think there's too much of a difference between Miami's offer and the 76ers offer, aside from how much better you think Tyrese is compared to Hero, and vice versa. A team that's relatively interesting in my opinion is the Celtics at 14-1 in a deal centered around Jaylen Brown. They've got all their picks. They could actually do this. For the Celtics, I think you've got to jump on the opportunity to pair an emerging superstar Jason Tatum with one of the best scorers in NBA history, considering the defensive culture that they've built, and most likely getting to hold on to some of their guys like Marcus Smart. They would instantly shoot up to title favorites. For the Nets, you're getting a guy that fits the exact same time frame as Ben Simmons. You've got your young duo to build around. I really think the Celtics are in a much better situation than a lot of people realize when it comes to a Durant trade. Tied for the next best odds is the Atlanta Hawks, and I have absolutely no idea why. Literally none, unless we're talking about Trae Young, and I can guarantee you we're not. For the players they have to offer, we're not talking about anything crazy. DeAndre Hunter, who needs to stay healthy. John Collins on a big contract. Onyeka Okongwu, I guess. But when you consider the fact that they can't give close to a competitive draft haul after just giving up 3 firsts and a swap in the DeJounte Murray trade literally yesterday, how in the world do they even have odds? Now, the most interesting team by far in my opinion, and I really think they're insane value here tied with the Hawks, is the New Orleans Pelicans. The deal, the situation, it just seems perfect. The Pelicans were just playing in the NBA playoffs without their young star Zion Williamson. Going after Kevin Durant would shoot them into contention, especially considering the core that would be around him. They've got 2 players that could build a trade around, either Zion Williamson or Brandon Ingram, and I think you'd have to have Ingram as the favorite. But with them also having one of the better rookies from a year ago in Herb Jones, some okay young guys like Trey Murphy and Jackson Hayes, they can put together an insane group of players, but it doesn't stop there. They also have one of the biggest pools of draft picks in the entire league due to the Drew Holiday and Anthony Davis trades. While most teams have to add pick swaps to sweeten the deal, the Pelicans can just keep adding full-on first-round picks. Pairing the top 2 picks from 2016, as well as getting a ton of future draft selections, seems like a tough deal to top. They're dark horses right now, but don't be surprised if they emerge as one of the favorites. I already tweeted it out, I'm locking them in as my prediction, as crazy as it seems. Now there's some other teams that can offer incredible packages filled with picks and amazing young guys, the Magic, the Rockets, but these teams are likely to have zero interest in a Kevin Durant trade. One that's getting talked about a little bit is an OKC reunion, but I really can't see Sam Presti having too much interest in that, but you never know. So these are the main teams in the hunt. I'm super interested to see what happens, but right now I'm leaning towards it being one of Phoenix, New Orleans, Memphis, or Portland. I want to know your guys' thoughts in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash the like button, smash the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.